Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. Oh boy, have we got some random reviews, because now we're on Respighi, who wrote a lot more music than most people know about. And I have, like, most of it here, I believe, like quite a bit. So let's take a look at, here's the clump. And of course, I have a billion recordings of the things he's most famous for, like the Pines of Rome and that stuff. So let's see what we have. Well, we're going to start with a real sleeper of a recording that I find absolutely fascinating because no one's ever talked about it. It's Leonard Bernstein and the New York Phil doing the Pines of Rome and Festa Romana. Now that's really interesting because the fact is he never did the Fountains of Rome. He only did the big noisy one. Most people did Pines and Fountains, but they didn't do Festa. Well, he does Festa, and it's a fabulous Festa. A really fabulous, fantastic Festa. With lots of alliteration. It's just brilliant and totally out there, as you might expect from Bernstein with blockbuster repertoire such as this. I was so impressed. I can't even begin to tell you the Pines of Rome is really good, too. And they're well recorded. And, when this came out, I just said, oh, I had no idea Bernstein did that. I think probably he didn't do the Fountains and make the usual coupling because there were already a bunch of great recordings out that coupled those two. So he thought, well, let's do something different. Let's do the third one. And, oh, I'm so happy he did because it's just slamming. Then we've got this fabulous Lauren Mazel thing. This is one of the reference recording discs for Festa Romana, which is just astonishing. The Pines isn't as good. It's good, but not as good. But Festa Romana is unreal. And we've got Rimsky-Korsakov's Suite from the Coq d'Or. I mean, this is a classic, famous recording. We've talked about it before, and so we don't need to spend too much time on it here. But it really is amazing. By the way, where did Finster go? Finster? Hello, she was here just a second ago. Okay. No. She's got to be around somewhere. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, this is also wonderful. The Dallas Symphony Orchestra with Eduardo Mata. Roman festivals, Brazilian impressions, and the Pines of Rome. See, everyone's leaving out the Fountains of Rome, which is fine. It's the dullest of the three. It's very pretty. But the Brazilian impressions makes a nice, unusual thing to do. And Mata and the Dallas Symphony were wonderful, especially in this repertoire. This is on Dorian. The sonics are incredible. It's fabulous. I hope it's still around out there somewhere because it's just tremendous. Then we've got another classic, the Ancient Airs and Dances, Suites 1, 2, and 3, with Antal Dorati and the Philharmonia Ungarica, one of the Mercury Living Presence classics. And they did a bunch of unusual Respighi pieces that were very, very rare for the period. The period in which they were recorded. This was 1958 in Vienna. This was recorded by Wilma Cozart Fine and crew. And boy, is this great. Absolutely beautiful and classic recording of that stuff. And then we have on Deutsche Grammophon, Sinopoli with the New York Phil, the Pines, Fountains, and Festa. This is whoosh. I saw them do these live, and it was really something. The Pines of Rome was unbelievable. The end of the Pines of Rome, I like to hear the tam-tam, of course, being a tam-tamist myself, because you really should hear a tremendous amount of, but this was so loud you couldn't even hear the tam-tam. And it wasn't because the guy wasn't banging the crap out of it. It's because everybody else was so loud. So it was really something else. These are beautiful performances. They really are very well recorded. This is the Japanese DG release because the regular DG release didn't last very long. It's the Deutsche Grammophon New Best Plus 50 series. Of course, it makes perfect sense. Whatever. Okay, Andrea Cappelletti and the Philharmonia under Matthias Bammert on Kochschwan, whatever that was in Germany, when it still existed. The Concerto Gregoriano for violin and orchestra, which is a beautiful, beautiful work. It really ought to get played like normally in concert once in a while because it is just lovely. And the Concerto All'Antica for violin and orchestra, which nobody ever does. I don't know why. I mean, you see, there's lots more Respighi than it meets the ear normally. So there's that one. We'll keep that there. Then let's see, what's this? Oh, The Pines, Fountains, and Roman Festivals with Ormandy and Philly. This is their remake. The remakes on RCA. I actually think these were better than the original Columbia ones. Frankly, I think that they're better recorded, and I just need to know, out of curiosity, if this is one of the ones. Let's see, that I wrote. Yeah, no, this is not one of my liner notes. But they do say, if you'd like to know even more about the world of the classics, we recommend either of these two books, Beethoven or Bust by David Hurwitz. See, there it was, my first book back in the day, and I'd already parted ways with RCA by the time they got to this sucker. So I'm not doing the notes, but they didn't change that. Probably because they forgot it was there. And what's this one? Respighi and Strauss Violin Sonatas, Kyung-Hwa Chung and Christian Zimmerman. Absolutely fantastic disc. Beautiful, gorgeously recorded, wonderful playing, and his violin sonata is, again, a lovely, lovely work. The Strauss coupling is actually rather frequent, which is interesting. It's also a good piece, too, by the way. It's early Richard Strauss, back when he was doing what everyone else was doing, instead of what he wanted to do, under the tutelage of his father. And we've got here the Pines and Fountains with the New Philharmonia under Charles Munch and Rossiniana, Rossini Respighi by Antal Dorati and the Royal Phil. This is one of those Phase 4 suckers, and it is multi-mic'd beyond all insanity. I mean, it's unbelievable. The performance is, well, how to describe the Pines of Rome with final march is really slow and really big and really rip-roaringly vulgar. It's just, it's fun. And it's, Charles Munch in his post-Boston period, so that's worth having. Then we've got the Fountains and the Pini di Roma and the Ancient Airs and Dances Suite 3 with the Berlin Phil and Karajan. Not great. He did a fantastic Pines of Rome, actually with the Philharmonia that was in stereo on EMI, an earlier one. The Fountains isn't bad. The sound isn't great. It really wasn't. And then you've got little couplings, the Boccherini Quintettino, the Musica Notturna della Strada di Madrid, and the Albinoni Adagio, all with Berlin and Karajan. And this was, I know it was Berlin and Karajan, so, not special. This is a great record. The Ancient Airs and Dances with Paul Odette and Rogers Covey Crump and other Nigel North and John Holloway and Crystal Thielmann. These are all of the early works that Respighi used to create his suites of Ancient Airs and Dances, but these are the original versions of them from back in the day. And it is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful idea. Great concept, fabulous execution. This was on Hyperion. It was recorded, let me see, does it say when it was made? Oh, why should they give a date? It makes life so complicated. It's here somewhere. It was an earlier Hyperion disc, and it's just wonderful. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Look for it if you could still find it. I don't think it exists anymore, but you never know. Then we've got, this is the Belphegor Overture, Pines of Rome, Fountains of Rome, The Birds, the Botticelli Pictures, and the Ancient Airs and Dances. Now, the Belphegor Overture, Pines and Fountains are with the London Symphony and Lamberto Gardelli. They are completely forgettable, uninteresting performances, except for the Belphegor Overture, which is really kind of cool, and no one ever plays it. The rest of it, the Birds and the Botticellis and the Ancient Airs and Dances, are all Neville Mariner, either with the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields, or, in the case of the Ancient Airs and Dances, the Los Angeles Chamber Orchestra. And they're lovely. They're absolutely lovely, lovely performances. They're just fine. Sound isn't always great, but they're fine. This is a knockout, too. Pines of Rome, of course. The Dance of the Gnomes, which is really a bizarre tone poem. It ends with the head gnome getting beheaded and eaten or something. It's grotesque. And Belkis, the Queen of Sheba Suite, with AGOE and the Minnesota Orchestra on reference recordings. Hot. And you got this because the sonics were just amazing, and they are. It's just terrific. Svetlanov, Pines, Fountains, and Festivals. Yes, with Yevgeny Svetlanov and the orchestra of the Symphony of the State, of the Federation, of the Russian, of the whatever it was called. And this is the Svetlanov edition, number 6. These are live recordings. I'm pretty sure they were, if I recall correctly. And they are just beyond noisy. Yes, it was live at the Tchaikovsky Conservatoire Concert Hall. Unbelievably, ear-splittingly Russian, screaming, screeching, just nuts, and fun to listen to for that reason. And last but not least, the classic, the Reiner La Mer with the Pines and Fountains of Rome, which is just to die for. It's one of the great records in the history of humanity. The performances have held up beyond belief, both interpretively and sonically. Sonically, the opening of the Pines has never sounded more wonderful. The harps swirling around. There she is. I knew she was there. Finster, what are you doing? I know. Hi, honey. They're actually having a party across the way, so I think she's spying on them. Anyway, so that's it. Absolutely amazing. Reiner, Chicago. What's more to be said? What a great way to end this first of several Respighi videos. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me, and take care.